just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc, Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's
happening, Marc Clarke?
Ladies and gentlemen,
what up,
I have
sir?
assembled some of the most genius music minds in the business. Let's start from my left. My right, your left. He's the musical director and founder of Spur of the Moment. He has been linked to music in the DMV and the world for the last 30 years.
Ooh.
The late, great George Duke said he was one of his favorite guitar players and music directors. He's been in the presence of the Will Downing, the Layla Hathaway.
Wow.
I'm talking about music director, not just in the presence, been in the presence and music director. Layla Hathaway, his baby girl.
Ooh.
Still, don't get it twisted. In that tight outfit, he still had to look away. he's Bootsy and Wayne are my go. If I'm talk about random, I will call them on a random anything, and we will talk for hours on end. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wayne Bruce is in the building. Wayne Bruce is in the building. Now, this one right here, next to Wayne, he sat underneath one of the greatest music minds in the game. I'm saying he was sitting underneath. He was on the. We all ask questions, Wayne, when Earth, Wind, and Fire had a complex and all lived together in the funny suits.
Right.
But it was little Bootsy who was there, who knew the secret sauce that was. What people don't know is Earth, Wind, and Fire. If you add up all the children, it is a small African country that they have. And who was there? Bootsy Vegas, DC's own. Bootsy Vegas got all the secrets. And now he is championing music and sending young people to college. Program boasting a 99.9% graduation rate. You might come in raggedy, but you're going to college. You came in raggedy, but you're going to college. Now, and Bootsy, and the thing about it is, it's 99.9 because Bootsy takes him to college. When every victory is another ching in the gas tank, ladies and gentlemen, Bootsy Vegas,
there
not
he
only
is,
special, but he's repping for the kids. And I didn't even get into the whole go-go thing. So anyway, gentlemen, we are gathered here today. Musical mind. Anytime there's a musical thing going on, you guys pop up. Wayne, the music director, Bootsy, the music director. So first of all, let me just say that Allison and I went to the Yacht Rock show out at Merriweather Post Pavilion. Now, Wayne and Bootsy, Merriweather Post Pavilion. Y'all, please inform me. Y'all from here. When you go to the Yacht Rock situation, you are going to be the 4 black beans in a bowl of rice. Okay? So please tell me, Wayne and Bootsy, that when you go and it's a funk fest or, like, for instance, Fantasia coming up, please tell me, Wayne and Bootsy, there is we have our lawn chairs, we have our coolers, please tell me that we are representing out there. I'm sure we are, but y'all tell me because y'all know firsthand.
Yes. 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 And there, in the black beans, there is some white rice mixed in there when the black beans get together.
Thank you, Mr. Cosby.
Now,
when you put the pudding all up in the pudding. No, I don't want it. Hey, man, respect to Bill Cosby. I don't want to go down the Bill Cosby way. But
now, for me on my end, I've had both sides of that. I actually went to a John Mayer concert and was only one of the black people at there. And that was really very interesting as well. So I've been to go-go's there. I've been to I actually snuck behind stage to be Earth, Wind, and Fire there. I've been through every type of multicultural thing. I tell everybody, if you do not have a ticket to sit in the seat, you better get there early, baby. Get there early.
Yes.
You're going to learn.
You'll learn today. That day. You'll learn that day.
And let me say this, Bootsy Vegas, Bootsy gets the, I done been in the Sun Award, because Bootsy somehow has surpassed me. I was the leader in the Sun race. Bootsy, I don't even know who you are. It's your boys' baseball games, right?
That too, but also DPR. Yesterday we did an Annapolis tour down in Annapolis on one of the hottest days. So one thing about summer in the Department of Recreation, you will be outside. So I am looking a little bronze right now. But shout out to Annapolis, because I spent all yesterday in Annapolis. I walked so much my calves was hurting when I got home. Like I just went to sleep yesterday.
And Bootsy, you also get the distinct award now. First of all, Wayne, in addition to being a musical genius like yourself, is now a damn social media event, viral space guy. And Wayne, his microphone sounds like a Mercedes, and Bootsy, your microphone sounds like the first car ever owned, the Yugo, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you're doing.
It's still that bad?
Well, it seems like it got a little better. Now Wayne is messing with his. Now we can't hear Wayne.
Yeah, and the one thing about a Mercedes, the worst thing you can do with a Mercedes is have one and it don't work. So
damn, he's tinkering with the Mercedes. Wayne,
there we go. There we go. The Mercedes wasn't working for a second. I lost the key for 1 second. The valet had it. I got a proximity key.
Okay, so Yacht Rock. Now, Bootsy, you're younger than me and Wayne. Me and Wayne, but see, it's different because DC, back when Wayne was coming up, was Chocolate City. So let me just say, those of you people of color who are watching this and who are YouTube, y'all don't know a world. Imagine a world with no black radio station. Okay, you can't, right? Look at Wayne. Imagine a world where Wayne knows the format, but didn't have to deal with it because you lived in DC. But there's a format called Middle of the Road. It's called MOR. That's the name of the format.
Right.
And so growing up in Springfield, Illinois, you grew up with songs like, it's funny. These songs were 70s, 60s, 70s, but they weren't. Yacht Rock has a different thing. When I think Yacht Rock, you think Kenny Loggins, you think, Toto, you think like, right?
White people, you think white people trying to sing black like they came out of black
Chicago.
Yeah, don't play.
Chicago.
Don't play. Don't play.
Or some cool like Toto, like Africa. Like, but MOR is more like I've been to the desert on a horse with no name. America, she ran a calling wildfire. That might fit in there. I don't know. That's somewhere.
Right. That's MOR. That's MOR.
MOR, thank God I'm a country boy, So I am steeped or stepped. I know in all that. So I was thinking pretty much the beauty of it is every song I think everybody knew. And when you get to a certain age, Bootsy, you're on the way there, but Wayne, we're there. When you got a little, you got coolers, you got drinks, you got sandwiches, and wait a minute, you can't give women the assignment. The lady next door, well, I say next door, sitting next to us, it was the girls' night out, y'all. She had a girl, they had, in addition to all the food in the world, which there's no way they could eat it, they were like, happy birthday. They rolled out with a birthday cake with candles. I was like, and so she had the wine, the cake. I'm like, y'all are really doing it. And then you throw on top of it all those songs are familiar. I said, but you know what? It's a pretty nice life to do that, Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's the same thing though when you go to Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. It's the same thing when you go to Essence Festival. It's like Essence Festival on grass, I guess.
Right. On grass.
Without the slide. And without Frankie Beverly struggling to get through that damn song. Woo. Which I put this before.
Hey, don't do Frankie like that.
I told Bootsy this before, Wayne, but you guys are music directors. I just saw Raheem Devon. I said, wouldn't it be great if they went ahead and added Raheem on. He covers some of the stuff. You know, Frankie's still there, but he's like, you know what I mean, adding a little something, because after a while, you can only.
It's taboo to say in our community. It's a taboo thing. You can't talk about Frankie.
Thank you, Wayne.
I can't even, out of love, I can't even talk about him.
You know what? You're absolutely right, because you know what makes it worse? And let me just take it back. I actually know, you know him probably, Wayne, forever, Joe, his manager.
Right.
I worked in Huntsville, Alabama, and so Joe, his manager, had a chicken place, but this was the time. So here's the scene. We're at the chicken place, and then the studio is not far behind. And Joe, I can't think of Joe's last name right now, but Joe's like, "We got one," right? And you know, it's already Frankie Beverly. Make him. What more does Frankie have to do? I mean, we got one. You're like, okay, but what could it be? And then it came on. Silky, silky sauce. It was like, oh, snap. But anyway.
Is it Joe King? Is that my man?
Joe, that's not Joe. It's close, though. It's like that.
It's close to that.
Yeah, Joe, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I take it back. I'm saying it with love. But anyway,
I mean, it's guys, taboo. I can't. I still get paid by going on the road. I can't talk about
Frankie. And this is the Frankie Beverly capital of the world. You don't never say nothing bad about that man in the DMV. Don't do it, bro.
You know, the crazy part about that is they recorded their live records in New Orleans, right? But they really should have done a live record when he was really at his peak in Washington, D.C. Because literally, Mark, he could come here 7 days a week. He could have played sold out Constitution Hall.
No question.
Without a question.
Wow.
I mean, I watched him sell out Constitution Hall 3 days in a row and come back like less than 90 days.
Guess what I watched him do? I watched him sell it out 3 days in a row. And the last night, he was keeping it go-go influence, having congos going between the songs. Like I watched him kind of like infuse go-go a little bit, where he would like ride the groove and the beat a little bit, and then play the next song on the piano and stop. It was like engaging the crowd. You do not mess with Frankie in this area, bro. Mark, don't do that.
Okay, let me be clear. Let me take all the Frankie Beverly thing back.
Yeah, man.
Because I love Frankie Beverly. I'm just saying
we all love him.
And so I didn't mean it for meanness. I meant it for, you know, because Raheem's range is right there too. Like it would be a great combination, right?
Right.
So Raheem. But again, let me Frankie, if you're watching this with the rest of our 1.5 million wannabe, one day it'll be happening. That right now it's not there yet. Viewers, Frankie, I love you. And brother, you keep doing what you're doing, because I'm gonna pay to see you every time anyway.
You know, it's incredible. I watched the Essence Fest this year online. I mean on Hulu. Can we say Hulu on here? I'm sorry, I didn't
say anything on here, Ryan.
We watched. I watched it on Hulu both days. Did you see it, Boosie?
Yes, I did.
So they broadcast live, which is or close to live. It was within like an hour or so.
Right. Yeah.
And it was amazing, and they should have done that years ago.
It's crazy.
They got some bugs to work out with it. You know, the sound wasn't great this time around.
It took them a minute to get it going.
They took them a minute to get it going. They started late. They had some acts that might not needed to be on TV, or something that needed to be on TV. Like they showed what's the two girls? What's two little girls rapping? Something girls.
Oh, the
City Girls.
Come on, Bootsy.
Huh?
City Girls.
City Girls.
Yeah, City Girls. Yep, City Girls.
City Girls. It was a City Girl.
That joint was city porn. It was a little risque to be on at the time. It was on. It was a little risque. But let me say this: and I was down on Essence. Just some personal things. I was down on Essence. The last time I was at Essence, and if I could tell this story, I was playing with Tevin Campbell, and I went down the day before, 2 days before our show, but the day before my wife was going down. Right, I'm going down, hang out with her girlfriend and husband. Right, but my wife couldn't get off, and I'm hanging out late night, and we order wings at the bar, and they weren't cooked, and I got sick, and I mean like sick.
Oh no!
Like sick, salmonella sick.
Oh wow!
And the next night was who? Prince. So I make it through the day, and I get into the building. Where are my tickets? Center, row 3. What? Behind me is the mayor of New Orleans. Behind 2 rows behind me is my man with the Where's the Ascots, or Roland Martin. Sherry Shepherd, 2 rows behind me. I'm row 3. My boys are playing with Prince, Marcus Anderson, all those cats. And Chic opens the show, Nile Rodgers. I'm good through the first 20 minutes of Chic.
Oh no.
I started getting the chill, the shakes. By the end of Chic, I was in the sick bay.
Oh,
damn.
My wife says, the stage goes dark, but I'm in sick bay. She says, stay right here. I'll be back. They'll take care of you. You have a TV to watch the show. She went and watched Prince perform. What did he do? 2 hours, Boosie?
2.5.
2.5 hours. 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was there.
Legitimately 2.5 hours. And the guy in the sick bay is talking to me. Yeah, I'm from DMV, and I'm trying to hear the music through the TV and through the hallway. And I'm like, I'm literally with a blanket on me, sitting there in pain and shaking. And I'm like, please be quiet. And didn't you say your wife went out there? I was like, that's her, 3rd row. And they show the audience up close, and she's party time. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. And she says, that's what you get for not coming down with me. Instead of coming down the night before. And so I'm sick the rest of the night. They get to go backstage to meet Prince.
Oh my God.
My boy's in the band. I'm too sick to go back. She's like, I'm going to take you home. I'm going to take you back to the hotel. We go back to the hotel. I'm in bed all day until sound check with Tevin. I go to sound check. Tevin killed the show. Tevin Campbell was voted like the 5th best act at Essence that year. He's an incredible singer. And I didn't get a chance to hang out with Prince, but
let me now
Wayne, that's the worst story. And
that is
Kevin worked with Prince, right?
Yes.
I've ever heard. Now let me tell you my story. My Essence, probably the greatest 3 experiences I've ever had in my entire life of living and doing music was working with Earth, Wind & Fire when they played there. I had never been to the Superdome. I didn't know what to expect. I saw it on TV. To be at that place and see 60,000 people in that joint, watching that, I had never experienced it. I didn't know what Essence was about. It was still one of the greatest Black experiences when you see all the vendors and what happens there. I tell everybody this, if you Black, there's some things you should do in this world. You should do. If anybody can say, what is one Black experience?
That's true.
Black experience like I have, you should probably go to Essence Festival in New Orleans. And I would tell you the other thing that blew my mind. Mind you, I'm from Washington, D.C. I played in go-go bands. I caught a lick. I was walking down the street in New Orleans, and when I realized they had alcohol vendors, like hot dog vendors, I was like, holy shit. Like, I just couldn't believe it. If you don't do nothing in your life, I think every Black person should go experience Essence Festival. The greatest ever in my life.
And if you're an entertainer that could get on the stage back in the day before, was this before Katrina? This before Katrina or after?
Yeah, it was.
Before Katrina, I played at Essence with Jamie Foxx. So this is right before Ray. This is
Wow.
the out of control Jamie Foxx that Oprah and Quincy have to
Had
talk
to talk
to.
to. Wow.
They had to talk. This is before the talk. I actually witnessed. I actually was a witness to two things of Jamie Foxx. How incredibly talented this dude is. I'm talking about. It's very few people in that stratosphere. It's very few people in the room as far as talent with Jamie Foxx. Literally, very few. He was able to. So we get a call. Hey, Jamie Foxx needs a band. You're playing with Will Downing that the next day or 2 days later. Come, I'm bringing you down early. I was like, so what are we gonna play? We don't know yet. He's going to write the songs. He's going to make up the songs. I said, okay. I'm in New Orleans. First, we get on stage at sound check. Literally, he comes up and I have Chris Big Dog Davis playing with me, who is absolutely one of the most incredible pianists and keyboardists in the world. And he says, okay, play here. They put a piano in front of Jamie. And he just starts making up songs. We literally on stage write 4 songs that's going to open Essence Festival. 60,000 people. And he has a singer with him. The world doesn't know the singer yet.
Oh,
I
man.
kind of
I know who it
recognize
is.
the singer.
I already know who it is, but go ahead.
I kind of recognize the singer because they look familiar and it's a woman. And I'm like, he keeps calling her T. And I was like, man, you look familiar. You look like some people we know. And she was like, just call me T. I was like, it's Tamar Braxton.
What?
Yep.
That's a
Okay,
Tamar
hold on.
Braxton.
He had Tank and Tamar Braxton with him way back in the day.
Right.
had
And
Tank-
so he says to me,
Tank's boy too.
he says to me, man, I got this singer at the crib who I had in a session with Layla Hathaway. I was like, yeah, we know Layla. And his name is Tank. I said, his name is Darrell Bibbs. He was like, you know him? Like, yeah, he's on my record. And this is, Tank has sang on a Spur of the Moment record, Background, on a song with Mesa. So you go research an old Spur of the Moment record called Out of the Shadows. And Longer Than Forever is the track. And Tank is doing all the background stuff. And he did it before he did his first record. He finished his first record. He was out with Aaliyah. Came back, did it in 20 minutes.
Let me ask you this question, though. Hey, let me ask you this question. How was Jamie off the stage at Essence Festival?
How was who? Jamie?
How was Jamie Foxx when you got off the stage, though?
He was out of control, bro.
Yep.
It was the most out of control thing I have ever seen.
Me too.
And it was scary. And I turned to a friend of mine and said, I don't know if this cat makes it past like 35 at this
Really?
rate. Yeah,
oh, no.
literally.
Oh, no.
And he had
100%, Mark.
to keep him on track, he had a guy who was writing a book about bodyguards. So I look at this guy, he's kind of slight and slim, but this guy is walking around like he walks on air. And I say to him, man, once again, because I'm a child of the 70s, I grew up on Richard Pryor records and everything. Like, you look familiar, man. I said, were you the Richard Pryor guy with Richard Pryor when he talks about, I can't remember his name, Kareem, it's a African, he was like, yeah, that's me. And I'm writing books on fighters. And when I tell you, that guy knew how to handle Jamie and had all his respect. But Jamie was, at that time, everybody knew that at that time. Jamie was out of control.
Mind you, hey, Wayne, I don't know nobody. I'm living in L.A. Once again, I'm from D.C. We were forbidden to go to parties where he was at. Let me just say this to you. I was told, if you like your situation here in L.A., do not hang and go with him. People go to a party, and I ain't gonna throw it out there. They say the party was going on. Jamie said at 11 o'clock, We locking the door.
Right.
And okay, I'm
Yep.
done. I ain't gonna do it.
Hey,
Mark, look at me.
hey, we can't
I was
say the whole thing
forbidding.
about Jamie's parties, but those stories he tells about throwing parties, his parties are legendary today. Today.
They told me if you go and we find out you there, Sally, you're going back to DC. They also said they went and he let it be known at 11 o'clock. You got an option around here.
Right.
You can stay or you can go.
Right.
It is what it is. But when 11 o'clock happens, and I'm gonna stop right there.
That Boosie Vegas is speaking the truth. I've heard that exact story.
Mark, Mark, it was the wildest ish.
But he brought that vibe to Essence.
Homie, it was the wildest thing I have ever seen. Look, this was when I had to make a decision of, am I going to stay in LA and crash out, or am I going home? I'm like, he is part of the reason I left LA. I swear, look at me, Mark, on my mother's grave. He is part of the reason. I said, you know what? This ain't for me, bro. I'm out. I rolled out.
Bro,
when
I tell you, that guy is legendary. And it's only God and Oprah and Quincy.
Wow.
No, I'm telling you.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it.
I haven't either. And hold on. The other dangerous thing about him, I don't want to say dangerous, was he's a good guy when you meet him. So you won't necessarily notice another side, because when you meet him, he's a humble, cool, down to earth. He's a really good guy.
Sound check. That's Jamie's sound check, Jamie.
Yeah, he's really cool. And then because I know of a story of him going to Chuck Brown. He talked to Chuck Brown. What do you need from me? What does Go-Go need? I do. Like, he's that cool.
Yeah.
But then, bro, you will see that party side and you'll be like, hey, dog, it was the scary. I'm go ahead, Wayne. I'm done. I'm not even gonna
that party animal. And Mark, I mean, literally, I don't want to tell all the stories.
I'm not. I'm not saying nothing.
But let me tell you this. And I wish the brother's name could come to mind, because this was when Jamie left Ray, because he's telling us about Ray. Ray's not out. He's like, I just made this Ray Charles movie. I'm bad at. He's saying I'm bad as hell in it. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm this, that, and the other. And I'm this, that, and the other. And he said, I have to gain weight, which is why the guy was with him, the trainer bodyguard, to do Monster. He was going to do the movie Monster about the brother who started the gangs. Right. And when I tell you, man, that 24 hours for us, it was a little bit more like 36. We waited till Will got there, and the next day, his parties were on at the Orleans Hotel, or whatever that hotel with the balcony is. You know that one down there.
Oh, wait a minute, Boots, your mic.
Your mic is gone, Boots.
We can't hear you, Boots. We can't hear you.
But we know. We understand. But Mark is like, get your stuff together. We'll come back.
No, but that's so crazy. Wait, so Wayne, the LA, two things. Number one, I'm just curious because you actually have played with all these cats. Mm-hmm. In my experience, so I played in bands in high school and college, right. And so in my experience, Bootsy's back. Bootsy?
Yes, sir.
Guess who's back? My man.
So Bootsy and Wayne, in my experience, I want you to chime in. So I'm 56. In my experience, playing in the band scenario, I can honestly say I ain't never met nobody, no musician from New Orleans who was not special. Has that been your experience, guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, first of all, I ain't never met no women or men who don't eat well, who don't party and drink, but then also musically, they've always just been special. And the funny part is, for me, and I guess you guys are go-go DC. The funny part is, I think I play mostly with drummers, and the part that cracked me up is most of the time they didn't even have their set or whatever. They just was like, show up and kill it, and then It always be like, but it always also be something going on. You know how ain't really a practice right. Also got some warrants. It was always something. It was never like, except now the ones who went to that one musical school is a little different. They seem like they were like more like, I guess because they were like in a sense almost like a pro school. Not St. Aug, but the other one. I can't think of it, but in New Orleans. But in your experience, so the New Orleans musician thing, you find that to be true?
Yeah, for me, yeah, I do. I mean, I think, and let me say this, which is the shout out to Go-Go. Like Zydeco and the New Orleans jazz thing and Go-Go have what in common? African roots.
Yeah.
And the drum is predominant in those music, and the beat and the groove. And it's really the cousins, as I see it. You know, they're cousins that Mother Africa birth, you know. So but as far as their musicianship, man, people in that region.
It's from birth. It's really,
man.
And I'm gonna tell you what else New Orleans does. When you're born, you're from New Orleans, you know rhythm and rhythms to listen to horns at a whole nother level. The rhythmic interpretation and understanding from somebody from New Orleans is at a level that you don't get I don't think you get nowhere in America. Like, mind you, the same musical traditions that were in the 30s and the 40s are still as valuable and prevalent now in 2022. And in DC, go-go music and live musicians are still as prevalent from the 70s. They're still prevalent now. Even when we had PJ Morton, he talked about the fact that we're one of the few places in America where there's something live going on every night. And it's just traditional after generation after generation after generation. And but let me tell you something. In DC, you understand percussion a little bit different than other people outside of here. You understand drum, you just naturally, you just have a different, you kind of wire to it. In New Orleans, when it comes to brass, horns, and rhythmic, you know what I mean? Like when I remember when Lil Wayne and them had first started, and Juvenile and them would always be singing, rapping. I used to explain to people they can't help it because they've been hearing notes and rhythm before they were born in their mama's belly. You can walk down the street and hear, but and then when you hear Juvenile rapping, you don't want to mess with, like, they can't help it because they have been hearing rhythm and rhythmics. It's like ingrained in you. Like if you ever want anybody to play horns at any point in your life, go to New Orleans and you could go on a corner and find somebody. So I do think what he's saying is there is a real connection because we're one of the few places in America where live instruments is still the place. Where I was, surprised to know when I traveled that a lot of these cities don't even have live bands playing their weekly. They have never seen a live band with instruments come together and play until they see Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like that was mind blowing because I thought it was like, standard. I would say 3 places you should go if you want to get musicians: New Orleans, DC, and Seattle. Those 3 places. When I went, they had every night I could wake up in Seattle and go see a band playing somewhere. This was 2006. Oh no, 2006, 2007, 2008. The #1 market for Earth, Wind, and Fire, besides the DMV, is Seattle, and they wanted to use everybody in the band. We would literally have to have a 3-hour live after show because they wanted every band member's autograph. So those 3 and then when we left, we would go in clubs, and they would be rock bands playing, reggae bands playing, them ska reggae bands like No Doubt. That was really big. They were all let me say this about No Doubt though. They're reggae rockets type band. You know what I mean?
Skylights.
That's what it is. It was all over. Those 3 cities, with those 2 cities, I could not believe it felt like home. It was like a place that I could leave and have a connection there because every night there was some live band playing.
Okay, now going on. So first was New Orleans, and secondly, you guys touched on LA. So LA is very interesting. Is LA the devil? Like I have to laugh when you said, I love what you said about Jamie. it was God and Oprah and whatever having that conversation. I remember,
Quincy Jones.
fellas, Quincy Jones. I remember being in L.A. and again, thank you, Jesus. Young, naive, programmed. I was a program director at 21.
Woo!
And so I'm working at a station in Huntsville, Alabama. Bootsy, I think I told you this story. I'm making $14.5, right? And so I've been to a couple
breaking the bank, baby. Breaking the bank.
I went to a couple record conferences and I met MC Hammer's brother, Louis Burrell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was Louis who called me. So I met him, and they were, two big dudes with Jerry curls, and nobody was checking for the Burrell brothers or MC Hammer.
Right.
So the conferences, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm in a little market, I'm hanging out with those guys, get no traction. So LA, every week they call you trying to push your record when you're a program director. And so he called me and he's like, we got one. We got one. He put it to the phone. No, can't touch this. Okay. So of course the rest is history. It skyrockets. And so I'm now heading out to the first record conference that I've been. It was like, I think the second one I've been to. The first one, again, we're hanging out as nobodies. This one, Hammer is the #1 artist in the country. He's getting ready for his Japan tour. And so we're out in LA. I arrive in LA broke, young and broke, right? So I see Louis Burrell in the lobby. He rolls up with his Cazal glasses and his glittery, hey, his curls tight now. He's, hey, young boy, hey, young blood. Thank you. He put something in my hand. Wayne and Bootsy. Wait a minute. Is this payola? If you give me something, he put it in my hand. I just closed my hand. I ran up to the hotel room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's $900 when you're making $14.5 is the world. And I was there baroque. And so I was like, is this payola? But anyway, he was just saying thank you, right? But the fun, I'm sorry, that's a long story. So you're in LA, it's at a record conference, and now you're in the bar area, and you're seeing some pretty gals at the bar. And right around, I've been hanging around the bar. Now I got some money, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking around, and then they're like, okay, the bus is leaving in 5 minutes. Now, I'm 21 from Springfield, Illinois. I don't know nothing about nothing. All I know is there's a bus going up to the hills. Now, and there's some pretty gals in the lobby, and they're all gathering around to head to the bus. So I look back on this, guys, like you said, ain't nothing but God. I missed the bus, of course. And I was like, I wonder what they're going to be doing.
That's a whole different life.
Right? I think God saved me, right? Like they're going to a mansion in the hills, funded by record companies, coming back the next day in the afternoon.
Skiing back down the hill.
And
definitely was going to be a blizzard there.
I think I went upstairs. I did, how you do something. I was like, oh, okay. I ran upstairs to do something, come back downstairs. Oh man, they're gone already. I was like, rats. But I think about that moment because I could have changed my life, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you never know, right? You never know. But I was so naive. Who knows, right? And so LA, just like guys, you said with Jamie Foxx, when I was working in St. Louis, Jamie used to always want me and my partner to come to the parties. He said, y'all need to come out. I throw these parties. And the funny part was, you know how it is. I always thought, everybody just being nice. People invite you to do this and do that. Then years later, I'm like, oh, this was a whole thing going on. This was a traditional situation going on.
So, whole different thing.
So LA you could be a superstar, but you could also get caught up, I guess. The temptations are real in LA, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Like any major city, but LA is just more so. Like LA, it's to a 10th power, man. because it's so spread. I don't know. It's so spread out. And it is not a sense of community because a lot of people are transitional. They come in there and you never get grounded. Boosie.
Lord Jesus, Bootsy.
That mic.
I think it might be it's a Wi-Fi. You at home? Boosie said he got a point.
We
said,
can
yeah, man. So, but yeah, I look back and I'm like, you know what? That was a blessing because I was, 20. I was like 22, 21, and who knows? I wasn't the kind of person to get caught up in that kind of stuff because I wasn't a user or anything. But I just look back and that kind of stuff happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Just like right after I got that money, and again, I think we all are lucky. I think all of us are kind of, because Wayne, I know I know we've all had our challenges, right? And I think we all, for whatever reason, God has watched us and looked out for us. And so, so that happened with Louis Burrell. And again, I'm so naive. I'm thinking, is it payola to accept money from a record label? It is if they're asking you to do something, right?
Right.
So the funny part is just how the universe works. I go to the room with that $900. I come downstairs, and I'm paranoid. And one of this older, there was a conference. There was a Jack the Rapper. You guys remember Jack the Rapper? The conference.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember Jack the Rapper? So who was always with Jack was Rocky Grossi, right? Jack and Rocky were contemporaries, and they all retired to Florida. And Rocky was a record rep, and he'd always sing grapefruits. He'd always sing grapefruits and oranges, and he was like the old guy that. And so I'm coming down the steps, and he stops me, and it's funny because I was paranoid, right? So he comes up, he goes, "Hey kid," I'm like, I'm paranoid. He said, "Hey kid," he said, "Look, all you have in this business is your reputation." And in my mind, I'm thinking, why is he talking to me right now? He's like, "Look, if these guys want to take you to dinner, whatever, but leave it at that, right? Just leave it at that."
That's a God wink.
Right. It was funny because
that's the God wink.
I was going, now that I had money, I was in LA, I was going to get a tattoo, and I was going to whatever. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm thinking I'm going to get a tattoo. He said, "Get a tattoo? Why would you do that? Why would you destroy your body?" Then he went into the thing about don't accept anything, whatever. And I was just like, dude, so guys, I swear, 15 years later, I'm reading a book about Frankie Clarke. Frankie Clarke went to jail for payola.
Right.
Guess who the record rep was? It Rocky Grossi. The God wink, right?
That's a God. That's a God wink.
I wasn't even, I'm not thinking like that, but in those kind of moments, I'm sure y'all have too. These moments, boom, just throughout the life, man, you just be like, what is going on? But hey, that's why I think if you're open to it, you get it. But some people aren't open to it, I guess. Bootsy, we can't hear you. No.
Are you unmuted?
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Now talk. Click off and click back on, brother. We'll be right here. So, Mr. Wayne, of course, I thought about you in my new job at Fox 45 in Baltimore, Maryland. I did a segment, Wayne, on Baltimore Club. You back, Bootsy?
Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me?
There we go.
Yes. So,
yes. So I just think what your thing is, like Wayne, we're good at taking the signs of danger. We kind of can sense it, and we act on the signs. The thing is, when you got that voice and you kind of know this don't feel right, and you should just go the other way. A lot of times people test the waters. They try to, go the other way. Like you got to have a sense of danger, and you got to have a sense of knowing something ain't right and just roll out. Like that's one thing I've mastered. We talked about it before, Mark, of getting out of the way. I'm cool with a lot of people, but I know when to venture off and, keep it. And I think what your story is, you responded to the signs that you was given.
Man, yeah. And I mean, what a blessing, man.
Yeah.
And in life, and it's happened, like you said, time and time there is an energy you can feel when it's time. It's
right.
like, I remember, like, we look back on, you look at hip hop. To me, And a lot of times there's violations. I think it's almost like universal violations. Like I never forget when first time I heard the Tupac song go in about faith. You talking about somebody's a wife on record. Consciously, I was just like, that's never good, right?
That's never good.
That's never
good. Never good. Leave people's family out.
I actually did not take it that way, but you
didn't.
Well, at the time, I thought they really tried to shoot and kill him. So in my mind, I was thinking, wow, if they shot at him and missed, obviously years later we realized they wasn't the ones that did it. But at the time, I was like, wow, like that's a good way to get back at your enemies. You know what I mean? So, but I guess I was young. I was young at the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just thinking your show. So I was just thinking at that time, like, because I'm a little older than them, just why would somebody, the idea of shooting somebody up at a recording studio or robbing somebody, I couldn't fathom it, because as an artist, I know the ultimate goal to go to a recording studio is to record. It was only after Tupac that I started saying, okay, in my head, that's why so many cameras around at any recording studio. You look at any recording studio, because you need to be safe to lock yourself in to really create. There was so much chaos going on.
Yeah.
Like, what better way to get somebody when they're not thinking about it is while they create, which is, to me, just the foul ball of foul balls.
Well, and the irony, I think, of the Tupac Biggie thing is, now we have more information. I think we all kind of, so Tupac and Biggie, ironically, as we see in rap a lot, aren't necessarily who they portray themselves to be, right? But so you had a Biggie who really was raised by, he lived a nice lifestyle from a standpoint. His mother, Jamaican, spent summers in Jamaica with the family. She's a single mom, but she provided a great education to him. You happen to live in New York and all the stuff that comes with New York, but you knew better. You weren't, Christmas didn't miss you. In fact, I think it was Jehovah's Witnesses. And his thing with Pac was, when Pac started messing with that crowd, real gangsters, real killers, he was basically, gave him a heads up, like, dude, don't mess with them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a Haitian Jack and them kind of dudes, you do not want to mess with these dudes. Like, that's kind of like how it works. But then you have Pac, who really, Baltimore, he's an artist kid. He's an artist kid, really, growing up, your mom's an advocate, Black Panther, but you really went to a school of the arts. You weren't the dude who was living off the streets. You were an artistic guy who wrote plays and acted and different things.
But you turn yourself into what you want to be.
Exactly.
Like anything else.
And as we know, when you do that, that's the dangerous game. When you hopped in on the deal with your man in was it Vegas, wherever, when you hopped in and kicked the guy, like you're hopping into the gang culture, but you're really not of the gang culture.
Right.
But you're portraying this thing. And as we know, just like a kid in the streets now, when you're trying to be hard to portray yourself as hard, you act a certain way. We all know the real hard cats, they are what they are. There ain't no portrayal, they just are who they are. But it makes it dangerous for everybody around you when you start to play that card. And then the irony that they both kind of just got snuffed out because of foolishness. And then the irony is the real gangsters, the Jimmy Henchmen and the Haitian Jack and the different guys, they're still alive.
Wow.
The real deal is still alive. But okay, so we got you back, Bootsy. I was telling Wayne, so start the Fox 45 job, and I'm going to keep you much longer, guys, but I wanted to get your take. So we talked about, I had DJ Boo Man on and the influence of
I love the interview. I love the interview.
Thank you, sir. Baltimore Club. For those who don't know, watch out for the Big Girl, which came out in like 93. Lizzo loved it, adopted it, using a reality show. So Boo Man has a deal working with her, and he actually says she's on a track. So hopefully that comes out. And then Drake drops his album, and some people are like, this ain't even rap. And so it has some kind of Baltimore club inspired, Chicago club inspired.
The whole album does.
Beyonce. Beyonce
Drake's
dropped her
album. Drake's whole album is like that.
Right.
It's the whole record.
And to me, Drake's album, I hear a lot of Kanye in Drake's album. But anyway, gentlemen, let's start. I'm gonna start with, since you're a guest, Wayne. Obviously, Nothing New Under the Sun. Is it ironic? Why do you think the artists are coming back to almost like a not disco, but club, house? Or is it cyclical? It always comes back.
I think you just said it in the last sentence. It's secular. Well, how you want to say it?
Cyclical.
It happens in cycles.
We haven't been drinking.
It happens in cycles. So it's that time. So remember, we talked about, it was a little over a year where we talk about the group with Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, right? We discussed that, which launched you on your big podcast.
That's right. To this day, Bootsy, that one has like 60,000, 70,000 views. That's crazy.
So, but we talked about these young people going back and revisiting this music. So we're a year later. Remember, everything now is on a fast track. Like everything gets done faster. So they moved into generations of music faster. Now they're up at the house, the Baltimore, where Detroit and Baltimore kind of dominated the clubs. Maybe didn't dominate the charts, but definitely dominated the club scene, right? And if you weren't from those really three cities, Detroit, Baltimore, and New York, if you weren't in Chicago, I'm sorry, 4. If you weren't from those cities, you didn't hear it all the time. So now Beyonce says, wow. And Drake says, wow, let's take some interpolations. Look up that word because it's cheaper than taking the actual track. And let's do an interpolation of the track, or even go sample the track. You add in some New Orleans with that Big Frida kind of thing.
Woo!
You add in that, and it's almost Miami. Then you think, oh, it's Miami. That music, or it's EDM, which is whitewashing house music. I'm just saying, electronic dance music,
100%,
the whitewash of house music, and you get it. So, if you take Anderson .Paak and them, that's like 76, and then only less than 9 years later, I mean, house is popular.
Wow.
The 80s house is popular. So you take a year you take 10 years in 1 year to get to where we are here.
Wow. That's okay. Okay.
Now,
you ring the bell on that one. You ring the bell. Dr. Bruce, that's pretty impressive.
Now, I'm going to tell you what my theory is.
Come on, Bootsy.
100% agree with that.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me just say this. Hold on. Wayne Bootsy, every interview, someone says, great question. So Bootsy's feeling pressure now. Because Dr. Wayne has put down, every time Bootsy, people are like, oh my God, great questions. Now Bootsy's like, wait a minute, damn it. Go ahead, Bootsy.
No. First of all, I love these musical conversations, and I love how, in some ways, they're intergenerational as well, just from experiences where we've been. Now, my theory is house music, there's variations of house music in every region. Baltimore has it. New Jersey has their own. If you look, New Jersey has it. Chicago has it. Detroit has it. I think the sound is so normalized now, and everybody has their variations of it. It's more standard to Black folks than we think. When you look at EDM, house, and all these variations, they really sound similar. So I don't think it's big of a risk as people may think, because it is now mind you, the number one DJs in the world are all EDM DJs. They make the most money. That's first thing. Number two, there are more new stations devoted to EDM than ever. That is like really happening now. They're fledgling EDM stations. So I think that sound and that vibe is normalized now. So to me, it would make sense because there's always going to be a club where them DJs playing that, where they do 2 hours of the same thing, where you can now fit yourself in. So I just think they're capitalizing on the new norm in what music is. Because be clear, yeah, I know this for a while. Everybody had an EDM remix. Everybody had a house remix. Like, whether people know this or not, most artists do EDM or house remixes to their songs. And then some of them, and I'm gonna say this, it's a standard in the music industry. I'm with Raheem. Every album Raheem has had, he's done 2 to 3 EDM. Philip Earth, Wind and Fire has done EDM. Like, everybody has a EDM or house remix. So it's more of a standard traditional sound for this generation than what one knows. Maybe because you don't hear it on urban radio, but the sound is all over America now. Like in some regions, that is their choice. When you go to Florida, that is really their choices.
Right.
When you go to, like, in some regions, when you turn the radio on, that's all you hear. So I think what they're doing is they're finding their place amongst those parties, because whether we know it or not, the industry loves to simplify everything. They love to do it. Like, you know what I mean? And I just think it's more normal than what we give it credit for. And that is where we're going. That is the standard. And whether you guys notice it or not, the top 5, if you look at the top 10 DJs that gross money, they're all EDM.
Oh yeah,
that's true. That's been the case. And it's
that's a fact, bro.
First, let me just say, you guys have brought it. I'm glad that we now, with the podcast, Wayne, there's an audio version. I'll send you a link, and there's a video version, and it basically is up a week. I'm glad, because I want everybody to see this. You guys have put your foot in this doggone show. The thought leaders in the game. You're not getting this anywhere else. No, are we on some? No, we're not on some BS. We're on some legitimate information.
Right.
So we'll wrap with this, because Bootsy, you work with young people all the time. As you know, Wayne, I got these kids, they're 20, 21, and 18. And then, Wayne, you are the musical guru. So this came up. 2 things. We talk about artistry, and we talk about art. Now, we just recently saw, if you guys haven't seen Dave Chappelle, the Netflix, it really is not a comedy special, really.
Right.
It's him addressing, the controversy. They were going to, name the hall at Duke Ellington in his name.
Right.
And so he addresses it. It's really a speech, but it's kind of turned into Dave Chappelle doing that. In this, he's talking about his love for the genre, his love for art and artistry. And Bootsy, with my kids, and I'm sure with your young people, Wayne, and even grown-ups, it's hard to have. Oh, by the way, we saw the Elvis movie. That's a other show. It's hard to have nowadays because of Trump. I'm blaming him. You can't have real conversations. It's as if people cannot listen anymore. Dave Chappelle, his love of comedy and what it is, and art. It's like you can't even express it these days. So this came up, Wayne, and we were like, and the girls were with it, and we were like, huh? So in Beyonce's new song, what is it? You Can't Stop My whatever, right? So the story,
you can't take my soul.
You can't take my soul. The story is somebody who's working and obviously having trouble at work, and she may or may not leave the job. But it's the message, the overall message is, you're not going to break me. I'm going to continue on. Beyonce is writing it from a perspective of someone telling a story. Now, the kids are like, oh, she ain't never had no job. She's they're like, what does she know about da-da-da? It's cool, but, Beyonce really done. And I'm just like, dude, since the beginning of time, that's what writers do. Some of the whole West Coast rap Bible written by Ice Cube. Ice Cube wasn't even from there. Like, that's what writers do. Most of the time, the guy who's living the life doesn't have the gift to articulate it. So there's somebody who's observing it and they write it. Just because she's writing from this perspective doesn't mean it's her. But this is it's not that high, but it's a high art concept. And Wayne, have we lost the ability to have conversations about, is the baseline gone? And now it's a whole bunch of people. It's like everybody has a damn microphone now. And some people don't need to have a damn microphone.
Exactly. I think we have, and I think it's taking art and music out of schools very early. So we don't even get a chance to listen and think about lyrics and think about the content of art. I mean, it's happened from, people writing about Cyrano. The whole Cyrano is him writing letters from a standpoint of someone else. The story.
Right.
He was I'm in love, but can you write me a letter? Right? Write me a love letter. So any group they have listened to and they enjoy, somebody else has written their music at some point in time. There's very few artists other than Prince.
That's a great point.
Other than Prince, there's very few, and he has put himself in a position of someone else to write their story, right? So you have to be able to accept people's art, because everybody who's singing a song doesn't necessarily have the ability to write the song. They have the ability to sing it from the standpoint. Okay, Luther Vandross sings "A House Is Not a Home" from a different standpoint than Dionne Warwick. You go back to Otis Redding's "Respect" is a different type of respect than Aretha Franklin's "Respect." It's the same song.
Speak on it.
It's the same song. So some people have the ability to
Grapevine.
3 versions of Grapevine. 3 different versions of Grapevine, and they all are different. Curtis Mayfield gives Gladys Knight an entire soundtrack, and it goes with a movie, and the songs are written from the couple's perspective. So we have to have the ability. For so many years, we had the ability to accept art. Anything they listen to nowadays, it has been art. So for them to say, well, Beyonce ain't had no, how can she sing this from a, look, you wasn't saying that when Put My Freakum Dress On. You wasn't saying that. You were dancing to it. Right? You wasn't saying that.
All the single ladies.
All the single ladies.
I was singing that song.
Beyonce was married when she was talking about all the single ladies. She was married.
And it's like, and now, the Chappelle and Bootsy, of course, we got to come back to you. And like with comedy, like with Chappelle, it's the whole formula of comedy is you're saying things you're not supposed to say. So the premise, with the setup, the premise, and the punchline is supposed to smack you in the face because you did not expect that to be the case. And normally that's in the form of something that's probably offensive, or again, something you ain't supposed to say, or whatever. That's the whole premise of comedy. And so now you see people analyze a joke and call it blank. Oh, that's racist. Yeah, that's what the whole point of the joke was. It's supposed to make you be like, oh, what? Oh, damn, what?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible, right? It's horrible.
It's funny, but it's terrible.
But now we're at the thing where people are like, I don't like that because it's like what? So I'm sorry. So Bootsy, you actually work with young people,
man.
Bootsy, how do you keep your head? Because I know you hear. But what I love about you, Bootsy, is you actually do meet them where they are. So, but how do you manage it? And what are they? And what are the young people talking about as we get ready to wrap up?
Okay, so let me tell you what I had to explain to a lot of people is that it all depends on what generation you come from. I'll give you a perfect example. Some people introductory to rap was Rappers Delight. Some was Run DMC. Some was Tribe Called Quest. Some was Master P. 4 different thoughts and process, 4 different things. For some reason now in journalism, with the invention of Wendy Williams, Skip and Shannon, all these debate shows. People come in now with waiting to debate and have an opinion. I have to spend more time saying, report on the story before you give me your opinion. Give me the facts of the stories. What happened? You know what I mean? Can you give me more details? But in more than any time in the world, we are now conditioned through media, through journalism, through every realm that you have, where people spend more time giving their opinion than reporting on the facts. I give you a whole case. In Black radio, it's more people spending more time giving you more news on the housewives and what happened versus giving you information that's going on. There are people who've never heard urban radio where they turned it on. They wasn't telling you about Stevie J, who he cheated on. They have been conditioned through media to now give their opinion. I tell everybody in my class, I got this one rule. I'll be like, look, you should not be in the position. You should not put yourself in your position where you're giving a personal opinion on somebody's private matters. As a journalist first, that ain't your job. And everybody now is conditioned to have an opinion, make an assessment, and most of the time, they don't even realize it's a game. I'll give you a perfect example. Reality TV is set up. It's a script that's set up for you to get a reaction. But you're not even smart enough to know that, and then you go report on it on morning, you know what I mean? Like morning news or whatever. I'm just saying, like, in general, they have been programmed and conditioned to give an opinion, have an assessment. Hey, dog, let me tell you why I think urban radio is failing. We spend more time at urban radio giving relationship advice. Steve Harvey been divorced 3 times. You know what I mean? We spend more time on giving relationship advice. The whole fake prank call thing that everybody does that nobody knows. And I just think everybody is trained and conditioned to get a reaction or give a reaction versus hearing it. And I think we now live in a world where with social media, everybody having these platforms, everybody feels the need to give an opinion. And it's less people reporting on actual news than that. But we got a lot of work to do because they're already, just think about this. Every talk show, The View, Wendy Williams, whatever, Joan.
Be More Lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, no, not yours. Where you got 5 people all on the table and they're giving you an opinion. For most people, that has been the norm for them as they consume media. That has been the norm. There are a few people that actually watch it. So I just think your daughters, I won't say victims of it, but that is just the way it is. Yeah. And the one thing I teach is before you start telling me your opinion, give me the facts first. Tell me what happened, where it happened, who was involved. Then you can tell me what you think of it. And I think that is where we at, is that there's never been, for the last 20 years, that's what you've been consuming in all media platforms. Radio, YouTube, it don't matter. Spotify, podcasting, there's no qualification to have a podcast.
Right. I remember when I worked for Radio 1 and a white person told me that, urban radio, they don't need news. They don't need news.
Wow.
Thank you.
But guess what though?
That's their
guess
opinion.
What though?
Little did I know that was going to be put into play, right?
Guess what though? It came back to bite them in the behind this cycle because Radio 1 was trying to vote to get the casino enrichment. Right. And they could not.
Radio 1 to shut them down, Wayne.
You know what, man?
System is not to be played with.
They are not.
They were like, cut him off. We're like, wait a minute, this ain't
slow
live.
The internet down.
This isn't even live. It's recorded. Shut it off. Wayne, it ain't even out yet, and they shut it off. Damn, they have a system.
Who controls his
too much
man?
Power,
that's power. Shout out to Radio 1. Shout out. Hey, I ain't saying nothing wrong. They come in Marc Clarke Media and got a nanobot in the system.
Bootsy, Radio 1 is not for games. They are controlling all media, recorded or live.
Busy U's will not play. She will not be talked about.
He's right.
Hey,
Marc Clarke again. Shut him down.
but here's the thing about it. You know, they were trying to get the casino. They were trying to own the casino.
Right.
They could not get people in Virginia, Richmond, all them areas to vote. They lost on the vote. They couldn't vote for the casino. And I think them no longer being conditioned to be engaged in the political process or local news, it just came back to bite it because they lost the casino on a vote. They voted no to the casino. That Radio One, because y'all do know that they do own a piece of MGM as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, now Bootsy, we're getting away from this, and Bootsy's getting me kicked off radio for life, but it's okay. So Wayne, the last question, Wayne, as we wrap it up. Where are the great jazz players coming from now? As we wrap up our music podcast. Wayne, you have the floor. Where are they coming from?
They're coming all out of the schools, the new school. They're coming out of Berkeley. They're coming out of all the schools, Juilliard. They're coming out of schools, man.
Is it hot? Is jazz hot?
Jet players are hot. And what jazz is doing is still crossing lines. So the lines are getting blurred and blurred and blurred and blurred. What you thought jazz was 10 years ago has been infused with something else. That is the form of the music. That's the form. Traditional jazz is getting played by young people less, but getting played by young people. It's people like Christian McBride and Bruce Williams teaching kids at their jazz house kids up in Jersey. It's people like Terrell Stafford over at Temple University running that music program. It's people like Robert Glasper, who came out of New School. I think he was in New School in New York, infusing hip hop and being refusing to call himself a jazz player. It's teachers up at Berkeley, you know, teaching the skill, you know.
Esperanza
Spalding. It's young people all over, man. The music is there. What we don't have anymore for that music is the platforms. The platforms are gone for broadcast. So it effectively is trying to close another door on what? On music that was created and played and listened to primarily by us. In Europe, jazz is alive, man. Jazz is alive in Europe. Montreux is going on now.
Wow.
North Sea was going on last week.
Yep.
I mean, it's what we've been conditioned to listen and look out for. I'm not going to say it. Different festivals that aren't catering to that music. But don't let that music, that music still has a place. But like everything else, Buddy Bolden and Louis Armstrong didn't sound like Buddy Bolden, although he came from that band. You know what I'm saying? Dizzy and training them, Dizzy and Bird was calling Louis a handkerchief head.
Yeah.
Not want to play that music. It goes from Dizzy and Bird to, Jerry Mulligan and those cats saying, we want to cool, we want to smooth, we want to smooth bop.
Right.
To Coltrane exploring, not just playing with Miles, but exploring, just him and Ornette Coleman and that thing, that kind of jazz. And it goes from Miles taking the infusion of electric instruments with Bitches Brew and all the way out to where we get him at the end of his career and end of his lifespan with Marcus Miller, with all that funk involved, and with Ricky, with Sugarfoot
Ricky Wellman,
Wellman from DC.
My guy.
Wow.
So, it's going to go so far. And then we got Glasper infusing everything into it and winning Grammys and Tonys and Oscars. And, we got Christian Scott. We got these cats out here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Your man ain't going to sound like we wanted to hear it in the 60s necessarily.
Wow. Well, Wayne, as always, amazing. Bootsy.
You are the man, Wayne.
Brown Bootsy, amazing.
No, boss. That's
Man,
Wayne, I
man.
like that. I see what you're doing with the little peaks, the little gray peaks, good little salt pepper on them. I see you, Wayne.
You know, I got the little Spider-Man.
Wayne.
Peter Parker.
All right, y'all. Well, look, thank you so much. If you're watching this for the first time, thank you so much. Again, I hate to say we bring Wayne on to drive up the numbers. Every time Wayne's on, we get these numbers. So that's awesome. Again, every Wednesday we drop a brand new episode. You never know who we'll talk to. Bootsy Vegas, thank you, my friend. Any parting words as we wrap up?
No, man. I love having you, bro. You amazing.
Radio 1 once again.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Marc and Bootsy, brother.
All right, y'all. Be good. Wayne, hug that lovely wife for us, all right?